So, but thanks. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started in just a minute. I am John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. We're here with our weekly update with Kathy Davis of Davis Travaglini LLC. And we're so glad to have you again this morning. She's smiling, so I'm guessing that's maybe we have some good sunshine news today. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. So anytime you'd like to start, we're still about a minute early, so we might want to wait on time. I like to start exactly on time if possible.
Okay.
So we got a few more coming in.
I got a piece of trivia.
Uh-oh.
2 or 3 people this week asked me, they said, how do you get people out and how do you evict them? And I said, you see Kathy Davis. And she goes, who's that? And I said, you're really not hooked into this group, are you? So
right.
I'm bullying them if I can.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Well, welcome. It's 11 o'clock, Kathy. So if you'd like to get started, just tell us what's going on this week. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Well, it's been a busy week for me because I had some personal things. My husband had to have cataract surgery. He had a big eye surgery in January, and they said that he would probably have to get cataract surgery, pretty soon after that. And he's an artist, as those of you who have been to my office and seen his work know. So he decided to go ahead and get it done, even with the pandemic. But it just takes so much more time to do everything, as you know. Everything, because of the pandemic, takes more time, including every time I have to go back because I forgot my mask. But yeah, so I was out of the office for a couple of days, so I'm still playing catch up. But I checked with Chris and Christine, and they're busy right now too, doing stuff. But so let me start with St. Louis County. This is our one that has never allowed us to evict anybody since March. They told us in a meeting we had Tuesday with the presiding judge that there are 177 sheriff executions waiting. But that's just the ones that were processed through to the sheriff prior to the middle of March. So the rest of the ones we've been filing since then haven't gotten through to the sheriff. So they're not in the sheriff queue yet. So we don't know how many that would be. And I have to tell you, I do these calls once or twice a month with the presiding judge and another judge and other landlord attorneys and a bunch of tenant attorneys. And it's very difficult. I mean, it's a good thing it's a Zoom call because I would be strangling some of these people if they were in the same room as me. Things would be getting thrown at their heads. They just claim these things that are ludicrous. One of the things that's really really kind of a mystery to me is they claim they have all these millions of dollars to give out for rent assistance. Why aren't any of my clients getting it?
Mm-hmm.
And this one landlord tenant attorney told me this week that was because the landlords are refusing to give information. And I'm like, that's not true. I said, we'll give a copy of the lease. We'll give a copy of the ledger. We'll give the judgment. We'll give the lawsuit. We'll give whatever you want. I had someone that I was online with. We went to a breakout room in the docket last week, a tenant, and he claimed he was waiting for assistance from Better Family Life. So I had him give me the contact of Better Family Life and called that person and said, what do you need to speed this process? Oh, I'll call you back. I have not heard back.
Wow.
We had a tenant yesterday who Christine had a hearing with that told Christine and the judge that agencies are telling them they're out of money, but they have not given out the money that they have. So I'd be really interested if anyone could email me if you've gotten rent assistance for your tenants from one of these agencies, for the federal COVID relief money, or if you haven't gotten it, any little statuses that you can just email me about that, I'd appreciate it. Because in my next argument with these people, I want to say, look, here's what's happening. In the city, we know that as of a few days ago, they had $7.5 million and they had given out $500,000. Chris has not had any clients actually receive funds, I don't think yet, but he said some that or deals were made and promises were made. According to the law professor, Karen Tokars, who's on these calls with me, they have raised the limit of what they'll give now in the county to over $8,000, which is fair because a lot of tenants have run up those bills that are that big, during all these delays. But that should give you some um, hope, if you can get a tenant that can make a deal. And supposedly, when they make these deals, they're paying it to the landlord. I don't know what they need to have enough proof to do it. And another thing that we heard is that the money, they have to use it by the end of the calendar year or it's gone. So they need to get off their booties and start dispersing this money out. So email me, kbd@kbdllc.com. If you can just send me quick little emails if you've had experience with tenants applying for the money, getting the money, not getting the money, that kind of thing.
Okay.
The second thing is in St. Louis County, the presiding judge has made some orders that don't allow any evictions by the sheriff until the county goes to phase 2. They're in phase 1 now. They've been in either phase 0 or phase 1 since the beginning. One of the criteria that this judge has for going up a phase is no infections in the courthouse. Unfortunately, the courthouse includes the juvenile detention facility and the county jail. So there's a lot of people coming in and out of those facilities. It really doesn't have anything to do with the sheriff or courtroom personnel or anything because they're sealed facilities, but they count that towards their going from the phases. They have to stay at each phase for 2 weeks before they can advance to the next phase. They've been at phase 1 for 3 weeks. They usually make the phase announcements on Friday, although we don't always get them until the following Monday. And Monday is sort of a holiday, we think. Columbus Day. We're not sure if it still is or not. But anyway, we think it's a legal holiday. So we're not even sure if we'll get that phase announcement until Tuesday. But we were hoping that maybe they would go to phase 2 and then the evictions could start again. However, then we read in the paper that there's a bunch of people in the jail that have all tested positive. So they could go back to phase 0. They could stay in phase 1. We don't know. We were originally going to come on here with some hope. Maybe we'll get to phase 2. We're not sure. And you all know that we took that whole order, that whole stay of executions up on a writ. We lost at the Court of Appeals and we appealed it to the Supreme Court, Missouri Supreme Court. I've heard a couple of things about that. First of all, I was told by a very well-informed source that our writ was very good, but that the Court of Appeals felt that the Supreme Court should make this call, not them.
Mhm.
So that's why they denied it. And they didn't transfer it to the Supreme Court. They just denied it. I guess, they were just leaving it up to us whether we were going to figure out to get to the Supremes or not.
Mhm.
Which fortunately, thanks to the very talented Greg Anderson, my colleague, we zipped it up to the Supreme Court right away.
Mhm.
The next hand down for the Supreme Court is October 13th. So that is when we're expecting to hear about the writ. We're hoping it will be granted. We hate to get our hopes up. It hasn't been going all that great. In the city, Judge Burleson extended his eviction stay for another month. We had a long conversation about it. He, I think, is trying to be fair. He did open it up again in July. So there were some people who got evicted or some units that were found to be vacated, or that kind of thing before he shut it down. But his big issue is getting the funds out. And I know how he is. I'm sure he's being very emphatic with the city about getting these funds paid out. But again, we've heard they haven't paid very much out, and there's a lot of bureaucracy and problems. Again, if anybody could email me with any of their personal experiences, you've gotten money, you haven't gotten money, your tenant's been turned down, whatever, we'd be interested to know because the tenant lawyers keep saying, oh yeah, we're getting all this money, it's coming. And I personally think it's BS, but I'd like to have some facts to back me up. We
Mhm.
won't use your identifying information. We'll just say, this is what we heard. So in the city, we're going to November 6th with this latest stay, and he did expand it. Judge Burleson expanded it, expanded the allowable evictions. The only thing that's stayed right now in the city are rent evictions. So if you were evicting for any other reason in the city, the commercial, he had already lifted the stay. The 441s, he had already lifted the stay. Basically, now we have ejectments and unlawful detainers. Anything other than pure non-payment of rent, we can now execute on in the city.
Okay.
So I know Chris was wrangling with the sheriff about it the other day, trying to explain to the sheriff what the order meant. I'm assuming that he won on that, or he would have come to me to, go up the ladder. But that's good news. And if you have someone whose lease is expired or they're committing violations or that kind of thing, it might be worth it at this point to do the unlawful detainer or the 441 if you qualify, because then that's exempt. And I don't think Judge Burleson will go back on that. I think we've convinced him that those non-rent related evictions have to go forward. Of course, if we go into a nuclear winter with the COVID or, that kind of thing, anything could slide back down in our game of legal chutes and ladders. Jefferson County had a bad outbreak because none of the idiots down there will wear masks. And they are back in phase 0, which means very little is going on in the courthouse. I did have a judge down there who figured out how to do a Zoom hearing. I was impressed, but they got the squirrels running pretty fast in their internet provider. But right now they're not really doing anything in person, and I don't think Chris is even having eviction dockets yet. This is the one county where we're saying maybe you should hold off on filing until he's able to get favorable court dates again, because things that he files now, he's not getting court dates until December, and nobody wants that. St. Charles is down to phase 1, which means they have some in-person hearings. I was supposed to be out there this afternoon for a default hearing in a commercial lease dispute, but that got continued for a couple of weeks. And that's not an eviction. It's a post-possession, financial issue. So it's not something that I can really cry that I need to have it done right away. We'd like to get it done, but it can wait a couple of weeks. And when I spoke to the clerk about that earlier this week, when she was letting me know that I wasn't going to go today, she just really wasn't sure what could happen. And I will tell you that, we talked to these people, the personnel at the courthouses, the clerks and the judges, nobody really knows. I mean, who knows what's going to go on? Will there be a vaccine? Will there be a huge outbreak? Are we all getting better? We don't know. We don't know, guys. I'm sorry. With respect to the CDC order, there are challenges in several courts across the country. The two that I think are the most interesting are, first of all, the one in Kansas City where the ACLU is suing on behalf of the tenants there, suing the court saying no evictions at all of any kind should be allowed until this order expires. I'm pretty sure that's going nowhere, but I haven't looked at it in the last few days to see. The other one that we're following is the landlord challenge to the CDC order in the Northern District of Georgia, which is basically Atlanta federal court. And they are challenging the CDC order on constitutional grounds. And, the CDC is not the kind of agency that really has the power to do that kind of thing. So they're not over the courts. I think that challenge has a reasonable chance of success, but it's just taking a long time. When I looked at it the other day, both sides had briefed and it had been submitted to the judge. I don't know how long it will take the judge to decide. So that's all the news I got. Does anybody have any questions?
Kathy, this is Dave Soto.
Hi, Dave.
The one you're talking about, is that Brown versus Azar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got something, I'm on a Facebook group and saw that something came out, and I tried to get the link to the memorandum, but they only gave one part of it. So
what was it?
Let's see.
I'm going to go on my Pacer account and see if I can find it.
Okay, so it came out October 6th. That it was a development. Some following Brown was Azar. Defendant's attorney from DOJ wrote a memorandum.
Yeah. Hang on.
And it just has his number 2. It says the order does not deny plaintiffs access to courts. Most importantly, the order does not prevent a landlord from filing an eviction in state court.
Oh, yeah. Let me look it up and see if I can get a good text on that. The last time I had looked at it, they were waiting for the judge to decide. I think it's Richard Lee Brown, right?
Let's have Brown versus Azar.
Yeah.
AZAR.
Okay. Okay. What I got is our side filed, and then they amended, they added more people, they had excess pages, you know, blah, blah, blah. The government filed a disappearances, which I can oral argument, video proceeding before Judge Boulay on October 20th. This is court and proceedings are public. So let me just look here. But I think anybody who, okay, yeah, it says members of the public can see these proceedings. So let me give you, okay, this is going to be a Zoom conference. So you're all familiar with that. It's GANDUS courts.zoomgov.com. The passcode is 116770. And it looks like the meeting ID is 1606-365-521. That's October 20th at 10 a.m. And that'll be Eastern time because that's in Georgia, in front of Judge Boulay. Of course, you know, we can't participate in that because we're not in that case, but it might be very interesting to watch it. So I have heard that there are some other suits challenging the CDC order in other parts of the country, but I haven't seen any of them yet. So we'll see each other one more time before that hearing. And hopefully next week will be a better week for me and I'll be able to actually read all these briefs and everything and I'll have more to say about it. But yeah, that'll be interesting to hear the oral arguments.
When did you say that's going to happen? The date?
October 20th at 10 a.m. and that's Eastern time. So it'll be 9 a.m. our time.
John, you got all those numbers that you're going to put out there?
Well, I got what I wrote down.
Yeah, me too. It was pretty fast.
Mhm.
We're not shorthanders, but that's okay. We'll get
I'm
it.
sorry.
We'll see what we can find out about that far.
Yeah.
Mhm. Maybe Kathy, you could send me just a link to that and I can
Yeah.
copy the
I'm not sure how to get you into the Pacer account, but
Okay.
But it seems to me like they ought to have some special
Well, maybe if you just want to do a screenshot and
I'm
send it to
sorry.
me. I don't want to spend a lot of your time doing it because you have so many other things and we appreciate what you're giving us right now. But yeah, I can do some research on that for us.
I'm going to print a couple things and send them to you.
Okay, thank
You
you.
know, there's a lot of stuff on here about, you know, join at least 10 minutes in advance, which they do want. And, you know, but it says it's open to the public.
Okay. Well, I qualify as public.
Okay. Right. So do I in this case. I'm not a lawyer in the case, so I'll just have to mute myself.
It's getting harder and harder to mute.
When I'm on these
myself
calls,
I got to see that
yeah.
happen.
When I'm on these calls and, you know, like with these judges and legal aid attorneys and whatever, Christine comes into my office, the first thing she'll say is, are you on mute? So that she can have a raging fit about what they're saying. So I'm going to send some stuff about this hearing to John so he can post it.
Yeah.
And that's all I know for right now.
Okay.
Keep an eye on the RIA website, because as I get information, I email it to John for him to post up there.
Mhm. Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody, yeah, anybody else, we're happy to do it. We appreciate you. I don't think I say that enough, that first of all, it's a pleasure to see everybody once a week. And secondly, we're happy to have somebody interested in what we're doing. You know, it can be a little isolating now.
Oh,
Yeah.
you-
I'm
you-
used to sort of swanning around the courthouse and visiting all my friends and hearing all the gossip, and I'm not doing that. So it's hard.
Well, we really appreciate you. You're just so valuable to us, Kathy. You don't realize how valuable you are. And I hope everybody else realizes. I think many of us do. But thank you so much.
Thank you. We're trying really hard.
Yeah.
So if nobody has any more questions, I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll see you next week. And I'll be sending things to John in the meantime.
Okay. Thank you so much
Okay.
again, Kathy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You're great. You're great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy.
And I want to thank everybody for participating. Again, if you do have any personal experiences with any organizations, please send us an email. Send it to admin at the website, or send it to me or Lloyd personally. We'll go ahead and get it to Kathy. Send it to Kathy. You can find her. Her email address is on the replays on the card we put on the front. So yeah, we want to get them out to her though as soon as possible, just to help with our cause. I mean, we're all kind of in this, you know, and this is kind of unknown what we're dealing with. I mean, you can hear the frustration, you know, just even in the attorneys, because a lot of this stuff has never been dealt with. It's not really, a lot of it's not constitutional, so we don't even know what we're doing. So anyway, that we do appreciate them every month, or every week, I guess. You know, this has been going on now for several months. So anyway.